All right, welcome everybody. And we're going to basically go over sales funnels, the basics. I've been doing sales funnels for a while, and next week we're going to switch the topic to autoresponders because part of the sales funnel is once you get enough people, you need to automate the follow up and everything. So I'm going to do a little more detailed on parts of the sales funnel, but this is going to be the high level picture of the sales funnel, and I'm just going to go through everything and then we're going to have a Q&A. I got a question in advance. I removed his name for privacy, Chris. And it's basically like, getting some people to the entrance of the sales funnel. So once I'm gone through the basics and explain everything on how the sales funnel is structured, which elements you need to have so you can convert, I'm going to give you some examples of how to actually get traffic to it. So this is going to be a high-level sales funnel in-depth training to get you started. If you put all these elements in play, it's going to work. Also going to show you, if you're not technical, how to do it, and how to do it efficiently without breaking the bank and everything. All right, so the one thing that I want you to know, I go to a lot of these seminars, trainings, I read a lot of books. What I've learned over the last 10 years is very small improvements are going to give you really great results. And that's really, if you can get one or two things that you can plug in, that you can implement, it's worth spending the time here with me. And I'm really going to try to deliver that because I value your time. And really, what I'm also going to try to explain to you that through trial and error, I've kind of learned what makes your prospect, the person who's looking at, you know, any element of your sales funnel. It could be your social media post, or it could be your video, it could be your email that you send out, it could be anything, what's going to make them take action? Because very, very few people take action. So I want to address that as well. And also, I'll explain how to get the recording of this. There is a free bonus I came up with, and it's going to be at the end of this training or the video if you're watching this later after the event. And I'll have this posted tomorrow. So to get the recording, there was a registration that LinkedIn did. And what I normally do is just email everybody or message everybody. So if you don't get that, write down my email is dan@monthlymastermind.org, or you can message me on LinkedIn. I do check at least once a day. So you should get, by the next working day, if you don't get an answer from me with the recording, just contact me again, but it maybe got lost in the spam. Message on LinkedIn doesn't get lost in spam. I answer every single one. That is 100% foolproof. And we're going to do Q&A at the end. I'm going to start with that answer that for Chris, because he sent that yesterday. When I do the next event on autoresponders, I do a lot of these, and I'm talking to a very big expert, published author, and hopefully she will be one of my first speakers. I'm planning to interview people, and then we can focus on having other experts kind of teach us, and we can all mastermind and learn together. So if you are an expert watching this and you want me to interview you, and then you can be the expert here or do your presentation, let me know. I'm looking to kind of learn from me and everybody else. But anyway, the next one will be autoresponders, and just get on the list on monthlymastermind.org. There's alerts. Put your name in there, and we'll start emailing people before next events. Actually, you know what? I'm going to skip about me, other than I'm not very good at spelling. So basically, let's start. The biggest thing to know with sales funnel, it is very complex, and it can get very, very complex. So I'm going to try to simplify. What made it easy for me is I start with the end in mind. So I'm trying to figure out what is it that I'm trying to accomplish with my sales funnel. Now, that might be a sale. I might want to sell insurance, or I might want to just build a list. So there's a sales funnel to build a list, because believe it or not, people make money from just selling out their list. There's this thing called solo ads. There's people who make millions of dollars just building a list and selling solo ads. So in that sales funnel, I'm trying to get people on my list. It might be an appointment. That's a sales funnel, get an appointment. I have tons of people I've worked with over the years. I send up their ClickFunnels, and it wasn't to get the credit card. It was to get an appointment. And it is extremely hard to get an appointment sometimes, believe it or not. So that's a sale. People giving you your time, it's a sale. What is the end in mind? And then we can kind of reverse engineer and come up with a plan. Now, what I've learned is the more preparation that you can do to get to that end, the easier it's going to be. Now, what do I mean with preparation? People are going to have all kinds of objections. They're either going to say, for example, I don't have the money. If it's a selling sales funnel where you're getting the credit card. So you're going to have to prepare those objections. Do I have money? Is this worth the money? So your story and the preparation that you're going to be doing is to overcome all that. So I'm going to give you a couple of them, but then I'm going to dig deeper and try to explain that. So you're going to have objections. You want to be likable, and that's the part that you want to do in the preparation, the early stages of your sales funnel. You also you basically want to think of every problem, every objection, everything that people can have, and have that taken care of before you get to the sales closing. Because if you want to deal with it then, that's the worst place to deal with it. But we're going to dive into all of those in a few minutes. The one thing that I discovered is if you don't know, and this is your first time, you've never built a sales funnel, what I actually discovered is what's called sales funnel hacking. And actually, I've heard Russell Brunson use that terminology, so credit to him. But I used to basically call it competitive intelligence. Is I would go in and look at what the biggest competitors, and that's the one thing is when people hire me, to work for them, the very first thing I ask is who are your 3 biggest competitors, and then I'll go and look at their funnel. Now sometimes I can't go do it. Then we'll try to have what's called a mystery shopper. We'll hire someone that will go through it and record it so we can look at it. Now, we're not going to steal their sales funnel. We're using that as inspiration to get a starting point, especially if you're a total beginner. But even if you're not, you want to make sure they don't come up with some kind of an incredible marketing magnet or an incredible offer and you get left behind. And you definitely want to do the competitor intelligence or sales funnel hacking. If your sales, say you're up there and it's running and you, for years, you're running like a certain amount and suddenly it drops 80%, okay, you need to go back to your competitor. Maybe they came up with some breakthrough and you're not aware of, and suddenly they stole your business. This does happen. So you want to, periodically, you want to do competitive intelligence and know what the sales funnel look like, at least you're competitive with them. A lot of times people come to me, they have a sales funnel, they cannot make a sale. Well, they weren't competitive. After I do the competitive intelligence and I show them, they're like, oh, they literally never looked at their competitors. I'm not saying that's you or anything, but if you haven't, do it. And if you haven't done it in a long time, I would say at least once a quarter, which is 4 times a year. It's not a lot, but spend the day, look at it, and be on top of it. It's important. Also, you want to make sure that you are selling to the right people. In other words, if you're trying to sell, for example, insurance to a homeless people, or to, say you're starting to sell life insurance to someone on TikTok, and, average person on TikTok is 19 to 23, you're probably not going to make any sales because you're talking to the wrong prospects. So that sales funnel needs to be really targeting the right people. So you want to have analysis in there. You want to have all kinds of analytics that you can put in, but periodically just do a survey. Even if nothing's working, hop on a phone, ask questions, send out emails, get an idea that you are doing this to the right people and you're really selling to the right audience. It's really critical and important. So I would say that's one of the main things that you want to do. And if you're not doing it, try to fix it that you're targeting the right audience. And that's going to be the traffic. At the end, when I answer Chris's question, I'm actually talking about traffic. So I will kind of after go to a couple of channels, and I'll show you where some of the new ones that are working, because once it gets saturated, it doesn't work. And this is what a lot of people run into. But just because it works, it doesn't mean it's the right traffic. So that's part of your traffic, is that it's the right traffic, that you're targeting the right prospects. So you can make the sale, even if that's an appointment. A lot of times it is selling, but it's got to be the right people. So check that, make sure, stay on top of it, and always do some survey, some analytics. It's very important. Now, your sales funnel, in order to work, it has to be crystal clear. At any time, if people are confused, they're really not going to take action. So it is important, try not to be confused, try not to have them not understand. And I'll tell you how I know that this is a fact. A lot of times they'll have a sales funnel, nothing's converting. I've had people try it for a long, long time. They'll hire me. I'll take a look at it and I'll notice the problem and I'll immediately fix it. Well, why is it? Well, I'm not smarter. A lot of times is I look at a different angle. See, because you are selling, let's use insurance again, and you go through the terminology and you start using insurance terms and you throw that in, well, I don't understand what it is. And a lot of times if I don't understand, I'm not going to take action. So I'm just going to click go away and go to your competitor, and he'll explain it to me like a dummy. I say, oh, that's exactly what I need, and I'll sign up with him. Well, the way you can discover that it's not crystal clear is hire, again, a mystery shopper. So you can use that mystery shopper two ways, but that could be you first. But anyway, you when you do competitive intelligence, but hire someone. If your funnel is not working, hire a stranger, have them record it, and then ask them to clarify everything. And I'll show you in a minute when we get a couple slides down. I'll show you where you can hire these people. But have them explain, because then you'll see what they don't understand. It's clear to you, but it's not clear to the prospect. So you want it to be crystal clear. Break everything down, make no assumptions. And once and this is why it's important to do the sales funnel in a kind of educational teaching manner, because then everything will be clear. So you want to do that. And if you can do some of these sessions where you invite people, do a little presentation, it'll give you a chance to do a Q&A, and then they'll tell you what's not working. You want to know that. Just like on my next event, I need to fix whatever I did wrong with this webinar. So those are important things. And now I did mention killing objections. You can't overcome any objections and rebuttal them, which rebuttal means killing objections, overcoming them. You can't do that if you don't know what they are. So it's important to survey, to listen, and to come up with every possible objection for your particular sales funnel, which it might have. Pretty much every sales funnel has some kind of objection. So if you get to the point by doing more and more and more of these sales funnel and improving, and you get to the point where you have no objections, then that is perfect. That's what you want. But the best time to overcome that is in the early stages. So what do I mean by that? If people go to your website and say, for example, you offer some type of a marketing magnet, might be a tip of how to save on your insurance, or maybe it's like an ebook, is how not to get ripped off on term life insurance, or it's maybe what is term life insurance and do you need it? So now I put my name and email and I explain it. Well, while I'm reading that, you already know that my objection might be the price. It might be I'm too young to get it, or I'm too old to get it, or having some kind of a sickness and I don't qualify. You want to address all of that before I get to the point where I'm going to sign up with you for that life insurance. So we're using that example, but that might be that might be an app that you're selling, or that might be real estate, or whatever it is that you're doing. Just try to translate, what problems do you see, how can you overcome them as early as possible. Now you might have autoresponders. You might have 12 emails to go out. I actually just finished on ClickFunnels a couple of weeks ago for another employer, and I set up all these autoresponders. Well, what they were doing is they were killing objections. He told me what all the objections are. He told me, what to write. So I wrote all these autoresponders. I set it up, and then as they go out, they tell a story, but it's really overcoming objections. Now that might not be autoresponders in your case. It might be simply a one-on-one presentation. You might literally meet with people one-on-one. Well, that sales funnel is still doing the same thing, because after, say you don't close them and you get their, phone number, you might want to call them. Well, then you try to come to the objections. I always recommend, no matter what, you're never going to close 100% of everything. So try to be able to follow up. I'm going to be talking about that. But in those follow up, try to work some stories on how to overcome the objections. And for example, let's go back to the insurance, just to give you one example of what a story is. Like I could say, the proper age of getting term life insurance is 43. That's what the statistics say. Well, that is not as good as if I said, told a story as, there was John over there, and John thought that he doesn't have to get life insurance until 55, but suddenly, he got ill. Had he got the life insurance, in his early 40s, by now he would have built up where he could borrow against and then pay his copay for medical. Like, I'm making this up, but you know this better than me. You want to build those stories in. So by the time you talk to John, he kind of knows those stories. And why do you want stories? Stories go through the barriers, and your prospect hears stories better and doesn't take it as like an aggressive sales pitch. So try to think what kind of stories you can tell. Now, stories that could be like, again, I said, it could be an email, it could be in a mailer that you send out, it could be in a video, it could be, in a presentation like the one I'm doing here. Try to tell some stories if you can, but it might be just when you talk to the person on the phone. Then in the early stages before you get to your closing, you want to tell those stories. Now, the biggest thing I can tell you on sales funnels is if you can somehow sell the result. Now, not everybody can do this, but if you can, that is going to give you the highest close ratio as possible. Now, for example, I gave that life insurance. You might not be able to sell a result. I can't think of a result right now. However, if you are, for example, I'll give you an example. Lead generation. A lot of times people ask me, well, how many leads can you generate? So I'll say, well, what kind of budget do you have? And I say, what platform do you want to use? And they'll say, well, I want to use AdWords. And then, it happened to be a chiropractor. I said, okay, well, let me, so I'll go to software. I'll look at what chiropractors pay. I'll look at the city, the bigger city. I'll come up with an average click-through rate, cost per click, and then I'll kind of estimate. And then what I'll do is I'll build up a buffer, and I'll give a guarantee, or I'll eat it. Because, if you can structure it that way and you get a guarantee, well, now they know what the budget is and they know the results. That is a much easier to close than I said, well, I can't guarantee it, just, pay $3,000 a month. I guarantee nothing. That is very hard to sign up. Then, pay $3,000 a month. And this is how many leads I guarantee. And you already told me that it's about a 25% close ratio. And then, an average chiropractor customer is worth this many $1,000s. Well, now we can work out the numbers in a proposal. And that's what they want to see. They want to see numbers. They want to see results. So they have the clarity, which we talked about earlier. So try to think of what kind of results you can offer. And that's really what you're going after. Now, what you want to do is have this sales funnel special. Now, what do I mean by that? I used to go to a lot of these seminars when I was healthy, and before COVID. I haven't done it in years, but I would go to these events, and like I was invited to a association, and it was the last one of the last ones was a credit repair association, and it was in Las Vegas. I actually literally signed up about a third of everybody there, something like that. It was like one of the highest close ratio ever. But one of the reasons is it was specifically because they were members of this association. I made that sales funnel special. There was a reason for it. They believed it, and I wasn't lying. So try to think, how can you make it special? It could be because you're doing a webinar, like this is a webinar, Zoom, could be because, it's a special day like Black Friday. Or actually, I've been 2-3 times to the Chamber of Commerce, and then I would use the Chamber of Commerce. Or it could be, some type of a book launch that you're doing. I had a couple of people that I worked with over the years. In the book launch, they actually made a special appointment deal where they normally charge. This time they don't charge because of the book. Well, now it's not a freebie. I'll think about it. I better take advantage of it. It makes it special, okay? So the more you can make it special without lying, being true, you're going to increase your sales funnel conversion incredibly. So think about that. What can you do? The other thing is you do want to be likable. Anybody, you'll be shocked. I'll listen to calls. People get frustrated. Even nice people, sometimes they run into a person if they're doing, especially if they do phone sales, or they just get burned out in 7, 8. And I listen to the call, and they're like really like a jerk. They're condescending. They're passive aggressive. It's almost impossible if you're rude to close that sales funnel. It's impossible. A lot of people, they're literally they're not going to do business. They'll go out of their way to go to your competitor. So you never, you gotta listen to yourself, record it, hire someone as a consultant to spend a couple of hours to listen and evaluate, to make sure you're a likable person. And that's an easy fix. Once you become aware of it, a lot of times if I just say it to someone I'm working with, they'll fix it immediately. So be likable. Again, it's not one-on-one only. It's not phone only. It's your emails. It's your direct mail. It's any kind of contact touch that you have throughout the sales funnel. Okay, very important. And then the other thing that you can do that's going to help incredibly increase your sales funnel, it's going to be lowering risk. People are risk adverse, so you want to overcome the risk as much as humanly possible. So you want to do that. And the thing is, if you can make it bulletproof, there's no risk, you're going to increase the conversion. And what do I mean by that? I've had people who sell these high ticket products, and they'll give literally, you have to do this, or I'm not going to give you your money back. Well, it's very hard, especially if you're early meeting this person and they just came to your webinar and you're trying to get $7,000. Well, same thing, like, if your life insurance is very expensive. So some kind of a money back guarantee that you can build in to lower the risk, it's going to increase the conversions in the sales funnel. So it's very important. Now, I actually, when I went to Belgrade, I had to buy a phone because I have my American phone, and for my Serbian phone in Belgrade, I had to put this SIM card. So I ended up buying one. And I said, if this phone doesn't work, how many days do I have to return it? And I've done this with nothing in this whole country can be returned. That's basically the moral of the story. However, he immediately rebutted that. He said, oh, but not a problem. Bring the phone. I got, 200 other phones. We'll replace it. I have a whole year if it ever breaks. So he immediately went to the rebuttal, and I bought the phone. That's the moral of the story. Without, like in America, I don't have to worry about it. I just ask him how many days, Walmart, it's 30 days. Best Buy, it's 14 days. Amazon, 2 months, whatever. You don't have that sometimes, or you can't do it. Make sure you have like an exchange or something. And then finally, I'll end with this. I've actually worked with the guy who he was so good. He had such an incredible product. People loved it. He rarely ever had a return. What he did is he said in his close is if you are not happy or there's a problem or whatever, I will give you not only your money back, but I'll give you double the money back. That's an incredible confidence. Now, not everybody can do that, but imagine if you can do something like that, it's going to really overcome the risk really well. And then I'll tell you guys what I've been doing recently on my service that I do. Like if somebody, for example, hires me to do a sales funnel, autoresponder, website, whatever work they hire me, and then I can tell that they're uneasy because they just met me, even when somebody recommended me, and I need to work next week. I got no work, and I got to pay the bills, and I'm working from home. So what I've been doing, and this is kind of new, and it's worked very well. So what I do is they said, listen, Bob, we'll use Bob again here. Listen, Bob, here's what I'll do. I start on Monday. I always invoice and I send actually, I used to charge the money up front. So let's say, for example, the whole job is $4,000. It'll take me a month to build this ClickFunnel, on clickfunnels.com. I use the software. I build the whole thing up. It's $4,000. Now, they don't. I normally charge the $4,000 up front. Well, now they're very skeptical. So then I came up with $1,000 up front. Well, some people are still skeptical, so that doesn't work. What I done is I said, listen, I'm going to go work the first week. These are the deliverables. Friday, I send you a report. You look at it. If you're not happy, don't pay. Not only you don't pay, I won't even send you an invoice. So I've been doing that, and it's really gotten me the business, so I stay employed, and it's really helped. I don't know if you can do that, but this is something I came up with, and it really works well because it removes a lot of the risk. So they got a week to kind of see how they work with me. They see the quality of the work, even though it's partial, and now they can see, well, Dan's for real. He's not trying to. People just don't want to be ripped off, taken advantage of, and then this really overcomes that objection. So anyway, I hope that helps you think about, for your particular case. The other thing, there's a book by Robert Cialdini. At the end, if you want, I'll give you a link when we get to the Q&A if you want this. I recommend everybody who's in sales to read this. Anyway, in there, he talks about reciprocity. If you can give some kind of a gift of some sort, something of value that they value, they almost feel obligated that they want to give you back. And a lot of times that might be that tipping point to do business with you. Now, sometimes you cannot give anything of value, but if you can just educate them, even say, for example, you were in insurance and they're never going to do business with you, but educate them while you're going and say, listen, Bob, if you, say you don't go with me, make sure when you're ready to buy the insurance, you don't get ripped off. This is what insurance agents do. You educate them, you give them everything, even if they don't do business with you. What they're going to feel that is like a gift, because now you were open up, you were selfless, you cared about them, you protected them because you made them aware of how term life insurance works and what are the angles that insurance use to scam customers. Well, now you look like a hero, but subconsciously you gave them that gift. It's really an incredible thing, this reciprocity. Again, read that book, Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's really incredible. I'll give you the link at the end if you can't find it. Also, the one thing that's important a lot of times for the vast majority, especially on the internet for your sales funnel, is there's got to be some type of, actually, I'm not sure what's going on with these images here. I'll fix it, so I apologize. But anyway, back to this scarcity. You want to have, like on eBay, before they got this buy it now, that used to be, say you have to bid, and the end is Sunday at 3 p.m. Well, you gotta take action. If you want this item, you gotta take action. It's for real. It's believable. And Robert Cialdini actually talks about scarcity too. So a lot of times, what you want to overcome, the objection is, let me think about it. A lot of times, for a lot of sales funnel, there is no think about it because there is no tomorrow. You're never going to get the deal. So what you got to do is you got to build in scarcity, and it cannot be a lie. Now, let me give you two examples, real life examples. One is, many years ago, I used to sell websites. Now, one website I sold was $30,000. And I actually had quite a few meetings. I had the board with me. It was a big organization, and they still couldn't close. And then at the end, I could sense that I need one final thing. And I thought everything was overcome, every objection, everything for the $30,000 deal. And then what finally I closed the deal was that I said, here's the deal. On next week, this particular deal that you guys want is so gigantic because we need special graphics, and it was all true, by the way. Then I need programmers, I need custom programmers, I need a database person because there was a database involved. Right now, I have the bandwidth for everything if we decide today and I lock them in and we start Monday. Otherwise, I can't have these people on standby because we're going to have to employ them even on smaller projects, and then that's going to delay our start date. So all of that was true. So if I can earn your business today, I can have this locked up by Monday and we start. And I remember Bob, again, we're using Bob, mentioned that there is a urgency factor, but in order for me to hit that goal, I really need to use the bandwidth that I had. So that was a real scarcity. They believed that I closed the deal, and it's the biggest website deal in my entire life ever. So I want to tell you that it has to be real and has to be believable. What can you do in your particular niche? And I want to give you. I was going to give you one more for scarcity, and that's me now. Like these ClickFunnels deals that I did, autoresponders, whatever kind of work is, I kind of use a similar deal, but it's me, so it's a one-man shop, because I know a lot of people who listen to these videos or come to my training, they're a one-man person. So for me particular, is that, hey, I only have literally I have limited time. So I try to tell them a story. I said, listen, I got chemo on Monday. I need a couple of days to recover. I'm going to be able to work these many hours. So I tell them the real story. And I say, if we sign up today, I can start on Monday. These are the hours going to work. I report on Friday. However, if not, I have another deal, which is usually true because I have these other freelancing sites I can pick up work, but I don't like it and I have to pay 20% fee. I always like to go directly. More money I can, in my pocket. I work directly with you. So it's a win-win. And I said, if you would directly, I don't have to go to the backup. I can give you more attention, focus. So, it is believable. It's true. So think about what can you do to build the scarcity. And then the other thing is social proof. If you're new, you never talk to people, a lot of times people want to see that other people have worked with you. Now, if you have like a LinkedIn profile, they can read some stuff that you've been there for years, then they know. And again, that's the thing that I mentioned earlier, is they want to know that you're not going to rip them off, that you're going to take the money and run. And it's really sad. I'm chuckling. It's like a tragedy, a tragic comedy, Greek comedy, but it happens all the time. I've worked with so many people that have been ripped off. So what you want to do is, if you have some testimonials, show them. A lot of times the testimonials, people know it can be faked. So try to tell the story of someone you worked with, to overcome that they're not the first one. That's really what they want to know, that they're not the first one. Now, if they are the first one and you've never done it, then do what you got to do, even if it's do the job for free, if you can afford it. if you can't discount it, then what I would say, if it's say that there's like a 80% built-in cost that you have to pay, then tell that story. Say, listen, this is like literally a lot of times in the beginning when I got into sales, I would be 100% transparent in the beginning. I say, listen, it costs this, and I will do it at cost. Then what you want to say is, however, I'm only going to do it if you promise to give me an honest testimonial that I can use later. Now it's justified why. So just be transparent if it's your first job. Your first sales funnel, just be transparent. They'll appreciate it. And a lot of people go out of the way to give you business as long as you can demonstrate you're going to deliver. So if you build all this in, once you have those testimonials and those stories, you don't have to discount. Now you're making the profit. And if you're really good at selling, you don't have to do this the very first time. And I know people, first time, they went straight for the profit, no problem, they closed. So, it all depends. And we're almost at the end. Authority. The more authority you can build in, the better you're going to be able to close out that sales funnel. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have any certification, we mentioned chiropractor over there. We mentioned term life insurance. Show them your license number. Show them that you've done this. Tell them the stories, maybe one story of your customer Bob who bought the term life insurance and how he benefit from it. Tell them the story. They had a family tragedy. They were able to pull money out of it. Talk to your customers in a time. Send them like a 1-year anniversary card. You can use Placek like send out cards. I often mail it. You can put a cookie, put something in, and then a lot of times they'll call me and say, "Hey, thank you, Dan." And then here, hey, how did you use the website? Did you like it? Did it work? And then we'll hear something, and you can use that into your story. However, if you're not a business where you have to be licensed, how can you be authority? Believe it or not, if you just do a presentation, you can be an authority. If you just have a book, you can be an authority. I have a friend. All she does is she makes people authority. Guess how? She actually writes their book for them, and they don't even write it. And one of these people, literally after he wrote the book, literally became a multimillionaire. That was the final tipping point to make him the authority, was that book. So what is it? That you can do, and I'll talk in a minute where you can get all these things. Then if you're selling online, your sales funnel is online, you got to make it super easy. That is very critical. Now, a lot of times, if you make it difficult and they can't figure out, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard for people to do business with you, because I've seen these sales funnels that don't work. You'll come in, you have to create an account, then you have to register, then you have to come back, then you have to put the credit card, then you have to click on approve your account. There's like 17 steps, and then people just abandon cart, and it doesn't work. The good thing is I've actually worked with a couple of employers recently. Recently, I mean the last 5-6 years. That's still recently. But in the last, I'm going to say 12, 13 years, there's this Bitcoin digital currency. Now, with these digital currencies, you can literally, and this is more for this next gen millennials, you can click a button and the money comes in with these digital currencies. Now, that's not prevalent yet. It's more like 5-10% of the market. But I think the future's coming where you just click and off we go. And there's, if you can utilize like Apple Pay, Google Pay, make it simple, these cryptocurrencies. So, keep doing that. It's very important to do that. So I would say, how can you simplify that? Now, let's see. The buying, so we're almost at the end, so bear with me. The buying decision is emotion, because a lot of people, I notice on their sales funnel, they'll have benefits, features. Like for example, on that term life insurance, they'll say, how many years, how many points If you just have it feature, 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 well, it might not, might not be able to close the sale, because at the very end, the emotion it's going to buy. And maybe you have to paint a picture for Bob again. You know, you get sick or you die, your family, and then tell a story. And then suddenly the emotion, of Bob strikes in because he cares about his kids, his wife, and that finally, that's the tipping point. But you don't want to make that insulting. Again, remember that likable in the sales funnel, you got to be likable, but have that emotion for Bob, because that emotion will be the tipping point for Bob to make that final decision. And make it very targeted. We talked about, if you're selling term life insurance, not to go to TikTok, but make it even more specific if you can. And I got a couple more slides and we're done. Follow up. A lot of times, Bob is not going to buy the term life insurance on the first meeting with you, won't be the second contact. But again, that might not have to be you talking. That could be another email. It could be a card in the mail. It could be a video that he sees on your YouTube. And then it could be a post on your LinkedIn. And then finally, you make a call after 3 months and suddenly, oh, Dan, okay. I was thinking about life insurance. I've talked to a couple of people, but thank you for sending me the tips. I really appreciate it. And I saw your video. I finally understand how the term life insurance work. Is, you know what, Dan, I'm ready to sign up. That's really why you want to follow up, because the sales funnel close decision is a factor of time sometimes. So it's not that day, but it's 3 months later. Well, 3 months later, if you're not in the loop, you're going to miss out on Bob. So you want to have that sales funnel be multiple steps. I heard the number is 7 touches is the average. But I wouldn't be surprised if, with the attention span going down, where it might be 8, it might be 9 in 10 years. Who knows? If you do the follow-up correctly, 99% of your competitors do not do follow-up. How do I know? In 10 years, I've talked to probably over 1,000 business owners. I hop on what used to be GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, and now Zoom. We'll share the screen, and I'll sell them, show me your CRM, show me your autoresponder, show me your follow-up. They'll have no CRM, no follow-up, no nothing. First touch, close, or nothing. That's a lot of your competitors. Don't be that guy. Now you can utilize. I'm actually right now because I'm on with my sickness. I'm unable to get a full-time job ever again. So I'm depending on myself to get work. So I'm actually evaluating right now parallel Zoho CRM, which is free, and HubSpot CRM, which is free for a small number of contacts, which is my case. And you have like Pipedrive, Salesforce, whatever, but have one of these, especially if you can automate it. And I promise some tools. So I want to mention a couple of tools for the sales funnel that I find the best, the easiest that you can utilize. And then I can actually show you once we get to the Q&A. So for the sales funnel that does the most of everything is ClickFunnels by Russell Brunson, clickfunnels.com. You can get it as low as $29.99 if you take one of these shared funnels. Contact me for that. I can give you a link. If you buy directly, it's like $100 a month. The majority is what it is. If you need something cheaper, there's Unbounce, which you can just Google. I think it's unbounce.com. That's a great one. And there's many, many more. A lot of times people don't want to pay the monthly. They have WordPress. So I'm going to say more than half of everybody, they'll use WordPress and then a plugin. The best plugin to build a sales funnel on WordPress for me that I've seen people use is Thrive. And again, I'll put that in the notes with the recording when you get it, or in the chat at the end here. Thrive. So those are the best. And for the autoresponder, the best one is GetResponse. Again, free to get started. Once you outgrow yourself, you pay. That's the one that I set up. So if you go to monthlymastermind.com and you want to be alerted for my future training events, newsletters, I use GetResponse. I don't pay anything because I literally just started months ago, so it's free. Yeah, and then the do it yourself is the tools. However, if you want to hire somebody, you can go. I'm giving you a couple of sites. Again, it will be in the notes with the recording at the bottom. And those are going to be the best one by far, in my opinion, is you can go to Upwork.com. Main reason is you get, there's great feedback when you're hiring people. So I would say go there. Another one is Freelancer.com, little less quality. And those are the two that I recommend. If you want to hire directly full-time, you're a startup and you have money, then Indeed.com. So those are the main ones. If you have the tools, you do it yourself. And I think that's going to finish everything. I'm going to go to the question and answer, but let me give you, actually, we'll finish here, give you a contact in case you're watching the recording. So I got this message yesterday, and if you're watching the recording, and I do these events all the time, just message me on LinkedIn like Chris here did, and I'll keep your contact information private like I did for Chris. So my biggest question is, how do I get my first customer from social media? That's a great question, by the way, and a lot of people struggle with that, and I'm going to address that now before we go to Q&A. And if you submit it, you get your question first, and you don't even have to attend. That's the other benefit. I've worked with clients in the past, but it was always through referral. That's another thing I run into. People have their entire business in one basket for more than 10 years, and it's referrals. No, you want to have more baskets, and you want to have baskets that strangers can come in that never met you. So we'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll give you how to do it. I've never successfully sourced my own client. I've got to get off the bench and into the game, and I don't know how. Hopefully I will learn tomorrow. Hopefully Chris is on this call. If not, this will be in the recording, Chris. I do hope. Okay. Thank you, by the way, for feeling better. All right. So I'm going to answer this, and I'll leave this screen. But before I answer Chris's question, there is a bonus for everybody on this call, and for some of you on the recording. Not everybody. So depending if I get busy, I'm going to take this bonus off. But if you go to monthlymastermind.com/bonus, and it's available, you can get a free consulting session. It'll be similar to this, but it'll be me and you. Everything of this applied just to your sales funnel. Plus, as a bonus, if you have a startup, I'm actually interviewing with a startup right now, actually a couple of them, and sometimes they have me sign an NDA. I will sign the NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. So everything is secretive. I won't share anything on the internet of yours. But anyway, go there. If you see it, click, fill it out. And the most important is give me your website and give me anything that I can know about your sales funnel so I can prepare. Kind of like what Chris said, but give me even more in detail. All right. You can also email me, dan@monthlymastermind.org, or on LinkedIn. We're all on LinkedIn anyway, so message me there. All right, let me ask quick, Chris. How can Chris get, or how can you, listening to the recorder, how can you get customers from social media that is not a referral, that has never met you, doesn't know who you are? Let me give you an example. I worked with a guy who actually he didn't even have the referral business. He just set up the website, and he was actually selling a product that went up to $7,000 a month, and the cheapest product was $600 a month. That is not cheap. And he was doing what he was selling was one of the so I don't give it away. It's one of the sub-niche search engine optimization. And the way he got the business is through social media. So what he did, there's one thing, Chris, that you can do, or anybody listening to this, is if you educate, give it everything on your social media, on video. When you give a tip, give all of it. Once you give all of it, then people will then contact you to talk to you more, and you're going to build up trust. So what he did is on Quora.com now. So let me see if I can find the browser. There we go. I actually started doing this myself. So I literally just started recently. So I answer questions on here on Quora. But I think even if you are on, say, Instagram, or if you are on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, I think this will apply to any social media. But this is a great social media. So here's some of the data of me. I got 2,260. I've been answering questions to people one a day. I'm spending like 3-4 minutes a day. But let me show you what I mean. So let's use the example of insurance. So if I go to Quora and I type in term life insurance, enter. I go to questions. Now, which is better and why, term or whole life insurance? If I was selling life insurance, I would answer that question and I would give all I got. And then what's going to happen? Actually, by the way, I have Google Analytics on monthlymastermind.org. I'm actually getting traffic from this, and I'm getting appointments just from the little effort I did on Quora. And I'm going to start doing this on YouTube, and I'm going to start doing this on other social media. I just started. However, this example I gave you, he did just this, and in 6 months, he got his business up to $100,000 a month. So you would just answer this question. So now let's look at an example here. Luke, what is term life insurance and how does it work? Luke actually answered that. And if you look at, these answers, you'll see a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put a link, to their site. And that's how they get the business. You're allowed to put a link. But what you want to do is answer the question. See how this guy answered the question here? And now this is not term, like click the wrong thing. But once you start answering questions, you can put link. But it's important that you give information freely, Chris, on your social media, that they know that you're the expert, and that you really, really care. You give it answers, and doesn't have to be Quora. It's the same thing on YouTube. A lot of times, I've actually one of my first diet plans I signed up was from watching YouTube. Is I watched them explain the diet plan. I used to be almost 300 pounds, so years ago, and I would sign up on a diet plan based on the tips that they gave on YouTube. So social media works, and it works for strangers, but you got to be out there and you got to be giving tips. YouTube is saturated, a lot of competition. This is the reason I jumped on Quora. It's not saturated yet. So if there's a new media that comes out, new channel, jump on it. However, you can still work YouTube. This Quora one is great. The other best one that I'm doing, and I'm literally picked up, I mean, the last deal I made $4,500 was from doing these LinkedIn events. So LinkedIn events, you basically train whatever it is. Now you can't do everything, but pretty much everything. I'm assuming, well, if you do diet plan, a lot of people on LinkedIn need help with diet, so it would work on diet. But LinkedIn events is not saturated, and you just invite people on LinkedIn, so it'll work. Okay, I just finished the recording. I'm going to upload it now. And I made a mistake. I think I said monthlymastermind.com. It's actually monthlymastermind.org, and then it's /bonus. I'm not sure if that's going to be available on the recording, but if it is, go ahead, take advantage of it. And I'm looking for some speakers who I can interview, authors, or if you're an expert in something. And I'm going to cover some different topics. I would like, for questions to be submitted. You can email me or on LinkedIn. Then this way I'll have something to cover for the next events. And I'm going to do autoresponders on the next one, and I have a whole bunch of other topics that I'm going to cover. But if you want to be the expert guest, and you want to mention your website, book, or something else, just contact me, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you at one of the next events.